I don't have cereal. It's so sad.
Okay, go have cereal.
No, I don't have
Um,
cereal.
so have you had anything yet?
I had cake.
You have what?
A cake.
Oh, okay, okay.
A better breakfast. Okay. I will have an
Let's
intro
start.
made later on, so you can just start by introducing yourself, name, age, where you from, where you are, what you doing
Wait,
with
are
your
we
life.
recording or?
Yeah, we're recording.
Oh, okay. Wait, I thought you. Okay, good, good. Sounds good.
Come on, introduction, please.
Okay, okay. Introduction. So where I'm from. Wait, so who I am, where I'm from. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Zhizhou. People call me Joe. I mean, Zhizhou, Xing Zhizhou, basically. I live in America right now, Boston, to be specific. But I'm from China. Um, Born in Beijing, and so I kind of really lived through the first SARS pandemic. Because SARS was the Beijing was the most severely impacted city in the whole world for SARS. Yeah. So yes, this is the COVID SARS two, and I lived through the COVID SARS one.
Okay, so what are you doing now with your life? Where are you studying? What are you studying?
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I'm in Boston, so I studied in Boston University. Yeah, so yeah, I mean Boston, Massachusetts is a quite an impacted state in America right now, and also I remember that I remember because I think the first school cancellation was happened at Harvard, and I remember like Harvard started this idea like this is gonna get a lot worse, and people weren't believing it back then, and yeah, truth is proven that America is pretty messed up
Harvard?
right now.
Yeah, so it just proves Harvard is a big brain, the rest of America not so big brain.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like because back then it was because schools in Boston, colleges in Boston have different spring break. It was back then when Harvard made the decision, it was seemed more like even something like a very rushed decision because I was having the BU's spring break at that time, but Harvard is having the last week before spring break. When they decided to cancel school or move school to online classes the week before spring break. And so what they did was that they said to all the students that they need to pack up by the end of this week. That means that they're doing their midterm week that week. So they're extremely busy. I mean, Harvard courses are extremely hard. So students are very stressed out. And at the same time that Harvard is saying that you guys should go home and all the people who live in dorms, you guys should pack up and leave for the rest of the semester. And because I have a few friends in Harvard, they were panicking. They were like, "What the fuck? Like we're having our classes, and we're preparing for a midterm, and at the same time they're expecting us to go home immediately." And lots of them are not planning for it.
Mm.
So, but then like afterwards, like I mean, now we're talking to them. They're like, "Oh my god, Harvard! They made the right decision."
It's like,
Because
well,
before then, like lots of European students couldn't like they were trying to get home, but because by the time Harvard made a decision, they can still go home. But a week later, Trump banned European travel, right? So lots of like our school, fucking VU, they're just like they're slowing decisions. So when they decided to cancel school for the rest of the semester, lots of kids couldn't go back. So there are lots of like European kids in our school right now, and they can't even go back home. They're just stranded here too.
so, but that's like the general circumstances. How about your circumstances? What are you doing?
Well, I'm doing online classes. I mean, well,
Quarantine?
well, I mean, I think it's my experience with with quarantine life is very very similar to a lot of people. Well, I mean, because I mean, I kind of had the experience of you know kind of knowing what's going on back in China when the first outbreak happened. So I kind of know that what I have to do to survive this. So I remember like I think that by the end of March, my dad sent me like a tons of masks, and like
No.
I just been just like wearing masks
All the
and
time?
going out to grocery like once in 2 or 3 2 once in 1 or 2 week. and try to stock up. And America has like, I'm pretty sure that American grocery or just agriculture business like industry is very very capable of like carrying this country in terms of food. So
Yeah.
like we have like Trader Joe's. I'm not sure if you know that. It's like a local grocery store,
Mhm.
like a grocery chain, and they produce like really good like frozen food. So I just been eating all that, and it's really good. It's really really good. I have to say I've been discovering lots of different recipes, and then I've been trying to keep myself busy too. I mean, watching lots of films. I mean, film students, so you gotta watch films. And well, we have like because I'm doing a double. I'm currently doing a CS major too, double major, man. I'm trying to live my life, so lots of work down there on the end too. So, just trying to keep myself busy and not. I feel like it's very very important for yourself to, feel like not you're it's important to feel like you're happy in a state of happiness throughout this difficult. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, I've been seeing lots of people like it's breaking down, which is not very good. And yeah, people are. I feel like everybody's living through a very strange time, and
Yeah.
so for myself, I try to keep myself as busy as possible.
You mentioned about how to survive it, but did you expect to be this big of a scale? Like you said,
Well, I mean,
you survived SARS-1 in Beijing. Now it's like, bruh, it's worldwide.
well, yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody expected to be this bad in Europe or just in America alone. Like, nobody expected this. I think. Well, I mean, the total cases recorded back then in SARS internationally was something like 8,000 cases. 8,000 to 9,000 cases. I mean, I always don't believe that that's entirely accurate because I mean, Chinese government do cover up some numbers, even they do now for COVID-19. So I mean, but I mean, the real number for SARS wouldn't be too far from like 8,000. But thinking about like how many cases we have right now, we have almost what 2.5 million right now.
Don't know. Don't know, dude.
Yeah. So
They don't release
so
the
yeah, I
numbers.
mean,
So far, it's only like 300K tops. Like we don't know.
yeah, I
Spain-
mean that's
Spain's
true. I
still
mean,
the
like,
worst.
yes, it's just. I mean, I mean, this has already impacted the whole world. Like we haven't seen in a century. I mean, last time we saw it was influenza, the Spanish flu, right?
Yeah.
So nothing has ever been like this bad. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I think this is one of the most interesting thing that I have seen in my whole life because this is a thing that impacted everybody in this whole world, and because of this new kind of internet age, we have this cultural exposure to all the information and all the like hardship that everybody living through. So we're actually seeing this in a way that seeing like the whole human race as we never seen before. We're viewing it and we are analyzing it in a way that we never thought we did before, and it's
Yeah.
just crazy. I mean, for me, I'm a filmmaker, so I observe and I like to observe the situation. And yeah, I mean, seeing how people change and act during the special time is very interesting, and it tells a lot about us.
Can you
About this world.
elaborate that more, like the change, how people adapt, maybe from your
Well,
area?
I mean, we can go from like, I mean, there are minor things and there are bigger things. I mean, we can talk about something more interesting. For example, like, the shortage with Nintendo Switch recently because of the popularity growth of, Animal Crossing. Isn't that crazy? Like, I bought Animal Crossing, I played it, and I think it's fun, but it's just like, it became a game that, like, outside our gaming community, like, people wouldn't, like,
Yeah,
buy a Switch to play a farming game or just like a game, but because people are so desperate and they're valuing this beautiful life they were living, and they want to live this alternative life in this Animal Crossing. So it provided people with so much comfort, and I guess this is a very simple analysis, but I think people are just really needed to feel that they have hope in this special time. I don't know. It's just like, and also just like very easy, I guess. I guess, a kind of way to kill time. I mean, Animal Crossing, there is not much
Mostly.
game mechanic.
Yeah, it's mostly just to
I mean,
kill time, and yeah, I think I agree with you with the part like people need to share that they're having a good life, and now
yeah, I
that
mean,
Instagram is
social
bad.
aspect on Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm happy for Nintendo, but I just never. It's just like, because from this perspective, like, this game kind of became popular because of coronavirus. And I mean, my friend and I were talking about like getting Animal Crossing, but we didn't expect this to become like this big. Like I feel like, especially with the Chinese community, like everybody was playing
No one
Animal
was.
Crossing.
So
I
do
think
you think video games now is or maybe like one of the platform that people use to have social interaction, fulfill their social needs, for instance? Is this like an alternative?
Um, well, I wouldn't link that necessarily, because I don't think there are lots of ways that people socialize online that existed without the form of video games. I think the popularity of video games
Just
grow
nice.
not necessarily just due to the social aspect. I think it's more due to the aspect of um, the lack of colorful experiences they can have at home. Because I think lots of people are not very used to staying at home and doing all sorts of self-improving things, like, I don't know, watching films, reading books, doing exercise at home. I mean, I do that a lot, so I felt very comfortable at home anyway. So, um, yeah. So I mean, video games just give them a way to fill that void in their life, I think, because there is a big void created from this disparity in quarantine life and your everyday life.
Yeah, talking to about America, I
Hmm.
I haven't double checked this. I mean, I heard some rumors that people
Yep.
are going out on the streets and actually having riots and shit. It's like,
Oh yeah, 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 for sure.
what the hell is
Yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah. You want me to give you a brief introduction of what's going on? It's
Yeah,
just American politics are, one of the, I don't
messy.
know, it's like white. It's just sometimes you think about like American um political system, you just can't believe it. I mean, it's just that you have to understand how I have to give you a holistic and comprehensive view on this whole thing, because for lots of American people, what if they don't go to work, they die, because the healthcare system is so messed up, and they stay at home. They have if they have some relative who are sick, if they stay at home, they get very, very sick, and um they don't have the money to go to the hospital because they don't have insurance, and so they felt like the necessity of being able to receive proper income is very essential to the basic need of their life. So it sustains the longevity of their life. So once they do not have a work, it's almost like an automatic alarm for them to say that something's wrong, and also at the same time that because these people are going on street in states, are in the southern states, for example, or in the middle states like Iowa, Ohio. The worst is wait, what's that state? uh Michigan. Wait, not Michigan. Is it Michigan?
I don't
Oh
know,
fuck
dude.
me. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's mostly Republican state, conservative states. So Trump supporters, or not just Trump supporters, but more conservatives. So I mean, in America, like, political parties are almost somewhat like a religious kind
Cult.
of in a way a religious group treat their own. It's in a way very blindsided. They kind of support their political leader as a god. They don't sound, and lots of them don't actually use their critical thinking to think about if the leader is actually saying something true. I think that happens everywhere. Like, happens in a lot of countries, even Europe. There are people just blindly follows the media and follows what the people that they value and they believe say, and they don't see the big picture and fact check everything to form a proper view of themselves. Um, but it's especially worse in America because it's such a, like a social cult group that everybody affect each other. So when Donald Trump says something like oh, COVID-19 is under control, or COVID-19 only kills 10,000 people, we're doing a good job,
No,
some bullshit like
the China virus, not COVID-19.
that. Yeah, I mean he's finally changing
Finally.
the way he said it, because China is sending respirators to
Finally.
America to helping them. So finally Donald Trump actually called COVID-19 by the name of COVID-19 the other day on Twitter. So I was like, yeah, oh my god, wow, what an achievement for Donald Trump, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, so yeah, that happens because people want to go out on the street, they want to reopen the country, they want to reopen the economy. And yeah, I mean, they do have a point, but that doesn't mean that they're right, because they're ignorant. They don't understand that the actual cost of something like a bigger pandemic than what we're having right now could cost so much money for the country to live through it. And the best way to solve the economy problem, or I mean, if American economy collapse, and we're expecting something very close to what happened in '08, and if American economy collapse, it's not something only American people can suffer, need to suffer through. It's the whole world.
Yeah, but then again, they don't
And I
really
mean,
have
everybody,
choice.
not. Sorry, go ahead.
Like these people who wants to open the country because they need a living.
Well, they're more like lower class, working class people.
Yeah.
So they don't
So-
have enough savings.
Yeah, from their perspective, we kind of understand that they need the job, and
Yeah.
the country, the politics, the government isn't providing enough benefits for them.
Well, yeah, I mean, also you have to consider that Donald Trump had the time to prevent this from happening this long. I mean, you saw South Korea; they didn't have a lockdown, and they properly prepared for an outbreak, and they probably tested enough people. They probably built up a system to work, and they didn't have a lockdown, and resolved it pretty quickly. But America had the warning of preparing for it. They got the first cases very, very early on, and I think it was like late January. That has been 2 months since the very first outbreak, and because this year is America's election year, so Donald Trump is so busy about getting himself re-elected. There's so much propaganda going on, so much campaigning, so much bullshit that going on out of his mouth, out of his Twitter, and he was trying to admit wasn't trying to admit that there was actually a pandemic or a coronavirus outbreak that's going to happen in America. And there's this pandemic Dr. Fauci, he was trying to warn the public about this outbreak, but Donald Trump was like, oh, he's talking bullshit, like not in the exact same word, but something like that, and he created lots of mislead of information, and America has to close down for such a long time, and we don't even know. And I mean, BU, I've been having discussion about like having online classes for the next semester too, and students here are just like, we're wondering what we're gonna do, because if we go back home this summer and not come back, what are we gonna do with all our stuff and school gear and stuff,
Yeah.
and we don't know. So I mean, we do understand them. I mean, it's really not their fault. It's the fault of the government not being able to prepare the people enough for the outbreak, and they had the chance and they could have done it.
Shit, I lost my train of thought. BU. Let's start with BU. And the students.
Okay.
Mostly the students are like, you're one of them who's still there, and also I hear a lot of students are also still there. How are they doing mentally? I know you're doing good.
Oh, okay. I mean, well, I mean, that's just a mental. I mean, I know I think people are reacting this in a very different way, and people are gonna be honest with themselves around these times. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I'm completely happy because nobody is gonna be very very comfortable with such drastic change in terms of their lifestyle. And yeah, I mean, I had my hard times throughout this days too, but I think yeah, I mean, I know that there are lots of, I mean, talking about Chinese people don't want to go home because, I mean, one that, you know, China is reopening right now, the economy, the restaurants, everything. So we've been hearing good news about China, and we're at the same time facing a harsh reality in America right now, which is getting worse every day. It's very very difficult for some people who already very miss China, like they want to go back home a lot, and they couldn't. So, but at the same time, there are people who don't want to go home because they think there are potential danger in the airport. But they're very conservative parents. I'm not so sure if you remember my friend Bill. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's in London. Yeah, remember
What?
him, right?
He's
So
in
yeah,
London.
I mean he studies in London. So but his mom is very very worried of him. So his mom was giving him so much pressure about trying to get him to go back home, but Bill didn't want to go back. So there's like different kind of family dramas. I don't think it's COVID is just one thing, and I think it's global. I mean, other influences. You know how it affects your relationship with your family, your relationship with your work, and with your friends. Or, I mean, I think lots of romantic relationship are under tested. You know, under test right now, and I saw lots of people breaking up around these times, and I'm honestly not surprised because, you know, you have to. You know, in this time, you're just facing each other in everyday life, and romantic relationship definitely tested around this time.
I think
So yeah, I mean,
most, not just romantic, even friendships are being tested.
yeah, friendship, certainly friendship. Like if you can stay connected, and how do you stay connected with your friends?
Yeah.
Definitely company.
It's so
Yeah.
hard, dude.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about studying. Online classes. How is it
Oh, I
going?
hate it.
Bro.
I hate it.
How
I mean-
like can you talk me through like the procedure, like how BU is applying the online classes?
Oh man, I mean, sure, I can try. Um, well, I mean, it's different because I'm both a film production major and CS major. So, I mean, obviously, you can imagine that film classes are very different from CS classes. CS as computer science. Yeah. So, I mean, CS classes are much easier. Like because, I mean, most of the content can be digitized. We recorded our lecture every day. Um, we do our office hours. You do know what office hours are, right?
The coding boys, the coding hours.
Yeah. No. Office hours are like when you do homework, right? You have
Ah,
a difficult,
yeah.
you have a problem. You go to your TA, teaching assistant, who are mostly like graduate students. They'll help you through
The
problems
open
you have.
hours, basically.
Yeah, open hours basically. Yeah. And yeah, we do that, and we just had our midterm last 2 weeks ago. We have our camera on while we're doing our homework, and we scan everything and we upload, and everything seems fine. And but film classes are much more different. I have a directing class, who's my professor is just like a very old professor, and he has no idea how to structure the class anymore. He was just like every week he would just go online and play us some film and like mumble about himself like for an hour, and we get out, we don't get anything. But I have like other film discussions classes who are actually very much same as before, because the whole class are kind of just structured around the basis of discussion. We discuss about film, we discuss the philosophy of film. So having just like something like a Zoom on and just talk about it, it doesn't actually change much about the structure and the form of class. And as a university as a whole, we're having this pass-fail program. So which means that if we get when we get a grade, the transcript at the end of the semester, we can decide if we want to include the letter grade to our GPA or not. As long as we pass the course, we get this. If for example, if I get a C and I think it will drag my GPA down, and I don't want to have that. I just have a pass fail. My credit is still counted towards my major requirement, and my credit is still counted. So, but it just the letter grade is not included. So, which means that as long as you pass the course, you're fine.
Mm.
So that relieves a lot of stress off our shoulder, and but at the same time, it really gives you no motivation whatsoever to study anymore. I mean,
Whoa.
sometimes I just have like my classes on, I just play video games, man. Like that's just like I mean, I'm trying to stay more focused. To be honest, I think it's very important to stay focused, but it's hard.
Yeah, I think motivation is one of the thing that comes up in all of my interviews so far. It's like it's so hard to maintain motivation because there's also some people who was struggling with the course. They didn't get
Yeah.
enough help, and then it's like fuck it, I'm not gonna do it. It's just giving up. So I think it's something interesting to look into.
Well, I mean, I think also it's important to understand that if it is very difficult for somebody to stay focused at this time, they shouldn't be too harsh on themselves because it is a very difficult mental time, and I understand that. There are people who goes home, and so for some people, home is actually just not a very good environment for them to study, and it is very difficult for them, and we have to understand that there are people like that, and we shouldn't judge. We really shouldn't judge anybody at this point, but we should really understand each other, and all we want to do is get over this bullshit and live our life as we're supposed to. But we don't know if I can do that anymore.
Okay. Last ish question. It's um this is just a rough guess for you. It's like, when is this going to happen? When do you think it's going to happen? End?
Mhm.
And when it ends, what will happen? What is there going to be a new normal? Well, how will society construct itself back up?
Oh, I mean, first of all, I don't think any of us have any idea about how this thing is going to end because we have seen like the second wave of this coronavirus happening in lots of countries. For example, in Singapore, that where we thought that Singapore have everything under control, and WHO actually praised Singapore for their pandemic precautions, is having the second wave of outbreak, and they're having the worst time ever because it is a very small city, and the idea of the heat will take the virus away is obviously not happening because obviously you're in Indonesia, and the Southeast Asia are very, very heavily impacted right now. So we don't know if this is gonna end, and we don't know how the society is gonna be. Definitely what we understand, I think, just from my imagination, and I think at least for the next 3-4 years at least, when people travel, your health status will be checked much more intensely, and people will have masks on flights constantly, and flights will be reduced everywhere for maybe something to 20 to 30% for the next 3-4 years to come at least. And I think at least every country is having a very difficult time. So I don't know if they can have the proper. I don't know. America, I don't think they will. At least on Trump's administration, I don't think they will build like a systematic response to something like this. But I know in countries like Japan or at least China, I know that they will do it. I'm not saying that I'm praising them, but they learned their lessons, and they're like, I'm pretty sure UK and most of Italy, Spain, and France will learn their lessons. They will try to build up this at least a fund to prepare for the potential outbreak of something like this happening again. Because I'm not sure if you saw the Bill Gates TED Talk. He warned us about a potential outbreak of a pandemic happening 5 years ago.
Yeah,
And he was saying that this is
2014.
gonna happen. Yeah, 14. Yeah. So well, we also, and I'm reading Albert Camus. What's that called? Wait, what's up? Wait. Give me a second. Let me find the book. Oh, The Plague. Yeah. So yeah, it's about a book. It's a book about. I mean,
It's about a book.
it's about a book about like a virus outbreak too. So yeah, I mean, from that, I mean, we have to understand that a virus like that is preventable, not from the source, but from us. You know, so I'm sure that people are be more aware when something like this will happen again, and I know the government will be more aware when something like this happen again. And I mean, something like there are people. I mean, WHO has done a good job in preventing Ebola from happening, from spreading across the world, um, and yeah, I mean, people can learn from this lesson. And I think lots of people actually um, um, learn this experience, and they wouldn't forget this experience anytime soon because it's such a interesting, difficult time. But I think there's something more interesting too. I mean, I think how our aesthetic and our culture value. I mean, from a perspective of a filmmaker, I understand that there will be um, there will be so many things involved around. Um, okay. There will be so many things involved around our aesthetic values too, our cultural values. Like for example, how we interact, our social cultures, and what kind of things we do. You know, like because for example, if you're like in a smoking sesh, you're passing out a drawing, you wouldn't imagine that during this time, isn't it? So there will be other things you people just think about
Oh, you
and
don't
around.
know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wish people. I mean, there. I mean, I don't understand. Lots of people wouldn't care. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I would care too much. But but for example, like there will be music about. There will be music lyrics about this time COVID-19. There will be films about coronavirus, and there will be fashions that goes around the coronavirus, and yeah, I mean, our perspective of form are just drastically changed after this, and how people reacted to it. I'm actually very excited to see it because I'm sure that there will be things that are out of my expectation too. In
Some fresh new
how
stuff in the world, basically.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, and there more money in video games industry too. I think.
But
Lots
I
of people
think
start working with it.
video game industry, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram are making millions right now.
Fuck TikTok. Just stop using TikTok. Fuck this Chinese company. I think TikTok is the worst invention of this human race in the 21st century. I don't.
Okay.
If you use
Um,
TikTok, don't be my friend.
No, I don't.
Do you use TikTok, Miyagi?
No.
Oh my god, I'm glad. I don't also use TikToks. Use
I know.
TikToks, man.
It's so sad. But any
Sad.
concluding remarks to end this interview? This podcast interview? I don't care the name anymore. Concluding remarks?
I thought you were gonna say something.
No.
Okay. Okay. You know, I hope. I mean, it's who's gonna see this?
Anyone.
Anyone.
You
Stay
CG
safe out
people.
there. Yeah, I mean, I think what I want to say is very similar to like what Bill Gates said in lots of his interview. I think this thing proved to us that allow us to have a chance to look at ourselves in a way that we never seen before, and prove that as a human race is a unity, and this unity have a very strong power to fight things that's more powerful than us. And if we have the will to do something together, we can do it. And at this time, I think understanding and love for each other is certainly the most important things right now. And we really have to see this as a group, as a human race together. It's not just about something selfish. And it's a time for us to prove that human race is not that selfish, and to have some hope for ourselves at least too.